Life is often described as a series of investments. We invest time, energy, emotions, trust, and hope into people's dreams and relationships. Unlike money, however, these investments are far more difficult to recover once they are lost. Time cannot be refunded, emotional damage does not come with receipts, and trust once broken rarely returns in its original form. That is why one of the most important lessons a person can learn is this: do not invest yourself in the wrong people. The wrong people may not appear wrong at first. They may look supportive, sound encouraging, and promise loyalty. But over time, their true nature reveals itself, and by then, the cost of staying invested becomes painfully clear. Many people grow up believing that loyalty means staying no matter what, that love means sacrifice without limits, and that patience will eventually change people. While these ideas sound noble, they can be dangerous when applied to the wrong individuals. Not everyone deserves your loyalty, not everyone values your sacrifices, and not everyone is capable of changing simply because you believe in them. Investing yourself in the wrong people often starts with good intentions. You want to help, to fix, to support, or to feel needed. Slowly, without realizing it, you give more than you receive until exhaustion replaces hope and resentment replaces love. One of the clearest signs that you are investing in the wrong people is imbalance. Healthy relationships, whether friendships, romantic partnerships, or even family bonds, are built on mutual effort. Both sides listen, both sides care, both sides give. When you notice that you are always the one reaching out, apologizing, compromising, or making excuses, it is time to pause and reflect. The wrong people will gladly accept everything you offer without ever feeling the need to give anything back. They become comfortable with your effort and entitled to your presence. Another painful truth is that the wrong people often thrive on your silence.
I just don't know what to do anymore.
They benefit when you suppress your feelings, ignore your boundaries, and tolerate behavior that hurts you. You may convince yourself that speaking up will cause conflict or push them away, so you remain quiet. Over time, this silence becomes self-betrayal. You lose touch with your own needs and emotions, all to maintain a connection that is slowly draining you. The right people, on the other hand, may not always agree with you, but they will respect your voice. They will care about how their actions affect you. Emotional investment is especially dangerous when it is one-sided. You think about them constantly, worry about their problems, celebrate their successes,
need to know where we stand.
And forgive their mistakes.
I understand, but it's
Meanwhile, they
complicated.
barely notice your struggles, dismiss your feelings,
just
or
don't know
only
what to
appear
do
when it is
anymore.
convenient for them.
I understand.
This imbalance creates emotional dependency, where your happiness becomes tied to someone who does not prioritize you. Over time, this can damage your self-worth, making you believe that this is the best you deserve. People often stay invested in the wrong individuals because of fear of being alone, fear of starting over, or fear of admitting that they made a mistake. Walking away feels like failure, especially when you have invested years of your life. But staying in a harmful relationship does not make you loyal, it makes you stuck. Growth sometimes requires the courage to let go, even when it hurts. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. The wrong people often disguise themselves as potential. You see who they could become, not who they are right now. You fall in love with promises instead of actions, with words instead of behavior. You tell yourself that they are just going through a phase, that they will change when circumstances improve, or that your support will make the difference. While people can change, change only happens when someone takes responsibility for their actions. If someone repeatedly shows you who they are and you continue to ignore it, the pain you experience later is not unexpected, it is delayed. Another warning sign is when someone consistently disrespects your boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are guidelines for how you expect to be treated. The wrong people will see your boundaries as challenges rather than rules. They will guilt, trip you, mock you, or pressure you into giving in. Over time, you may start lowering your standards just to keep the peace. But peace that comes at the cost of your dignity is not peace at all. It is surrender. Trust is one of the most valuable investments you can make, and the wrong people misuse it. They may lie, manipulate, or selectively tell the truth to protect their own interests. Each time they break your trust, they apologize just enough to keep you from leaving, but not enough to change their behavior. You begin to doubt your own judgment, wondering if you are overreacting or being too sensitive. This self-doubt is one of the most damaging effects of investing in the wrong people. They make you question yourself instead of questioning their actions. Sometimes the wrong people are not intentionally cruel, they are simply incompatible with your values, goals, or emotional needs. You may want growth, honesty, and depth, while they prefer comfort, avoidance, and surface-level connections. Staying invested in such relationships leads to constant frustration, because you are trying to build something meaningful with someone who does not want the same thing. Compatibility is not about effort alone, it is about alignment. One of the hardest lessons to learn is that love alone is not enough. You can love someone deeply and still recognize that they are not good for you. Love does not erase disrespect, neglect, or emotional harm. Love does not excuse manipulation or repeated disappointment. Mature love includes self-respect. It understands that walking away can be an act of love toward yourself. The wrong people often drain your energy without replenishing it. After interacting with them, you feel exhausted, anxious, or emotionally heavy. You replay conversations in your head, wondering what you said wrong or how you could have handled things better. The right people, even during difficult conversations, leave you feeling understood and valued. Pay attention to how people make you feel, not just what they say. Another trap is nostalgia. You remember how things used to be and hope they will return to that version. You hold on to memories instead of reality. But people change, and sometimes relationships expire. Holding on to the past can prevent you from embracing a healthier future. It is important to grieve what was while accepting what is. Investing yourself in the wrong people also affects other areas of your life. Your goals, ambitions, and personal growth may take a back seat as you focus on fixing or pleasing someone else. You may neglect your passions, friendships, and mental health. Over time, you lose pieces of yourself, and when you finally look in the mirror, you hardly recognize who you have become. The right people encourage your growth, they do not compete with it or feel threatened by it. Learning when to walk away is a form of wisdom. It does not mean you lack compassion, it means you value your well-being. Letting go does not erase the good moments or lessons learned. Every relationship teaches you something about yourself, your boundaries, and what you truly need. The key is not to repeat the same mistakes by ignoring the lessons. At some point, you must ask yourself difficult questions. Are you staying because you are loved or because you are afraid? Are you growing or merely surviving? Are you being respected or merely tolerated? Honest answers can be uncomfortable, but they are necessary for change. Choosing not to invest yourself in the wrong people is an act of self-respect and self-awareness. It means understanding that your time and energy are limited resources. Where you place them determines the quality of your life. You deserve relationships that nourish you, challenge you in healthy ways, and support your growth. This realization does not happen overnight. It often comes after heartbreak, disappointment, and emotional exhaustion. But once you learn it, it changes everything. You become more selective, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. You stop chasing people who do not choose you and start valuing those who do. Letting go of the wrong people is one of the most difficult yet liberating decisions a person can make. It is difficult because attachment does not disappear simply because logic tells you it should. Emotions hold on to memories, shared experiences, and the hope that things might one day improve. But liberation comes when you finally accept that holding on is costing you more than letting go ever could. The moment you choose peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and self-respect over emotional dependency, you begin to reclaim control over your life. Guilt often accompanies the decision to walk away. You may feel guilty for leaving someone who depended on you, for choosing yourself, or for no longer being available in the same way. The wrong people often reinforce this guilt, intentionally or unintentionally, by reminding you of everything you have shared or everything they have done for you. But guilt should not be confused with responsibility. You are not responsible for fixing someone who refuses to fix themselves. You are not obligated to stay in situations that harm you simply because you
I just
once
need
cared.
to know where we stand.
Healing after investing
I
in the wrong
understand,
people
but it's
takes
complicated.
time. There is no shortcut to emotional recovery.
I just don't know what
you
to
may
do anymore.
experience sadness,
I
anger,
understand.
relief, and loneliness all at the same time. Some days you will miss them, not because they were good for you, but because they were familiar. Familiar pain often feels safer than unfamiliar freedom. During this phase, it is important to be gentle with yourself. Healing is not linear, and progress does not mean you will never look back. It means you no longer want to return. Rebuilding self-worth is a crucial part of the healing process. When you invest yourself in the wrong people, your sense of value often becomes tied to how much you are needed or accepted by them. Once that connection is gone, you may feel empty or unsure of who you are. This is where true self-discovery begins. You start learning who you are without constant validation, who you are when you are no longer trying to please, and who you are when your energy is directed inward instead of outward. Solitude, when chosen intentionally, can be incredibly powerful. Being alone allows you to reflect, to listen to your inner voice, and to reconnect with parts of yourself that were neglected. It teaches you that your own company can be enough. This does not mean isolating yourself from the world, but rather learning to enjoy your own presence without feeling incomplete. When you are comfortable being alone, You are less likely to settle for relationships that drain you. One of the most valuable lessons that comes from past mistakes is discernment. You begin to recognize patterns earlier. You notice red flags instead of explaining them away. You listen more closely to actions rather than words. This awareness is not cynicism, it is wisdom earned through experience. You no longer rush into emotional investments. You observe, you evaluate, and you protect your peace. Choosing the right people means choosing those who respect your boundaries without making you feel guilty for having them. The right people do not require you to shrink yourself to fit into their lives. They celebrate your growth, support your ambitions, and encourage your authenticity. With them, you do not feel the need to perform or pretend. You are accepted as you are, not tolerated for what you provide. Healthy relationships are built on consistency. The right people show up not only when it is convenient, but also when it matters. Their words align with their actions. They communicate openly, even when conversations are uncomfortable. They take responsibility for their mistakes and make genuine efforts to do better. These qualities may seem basic, but they become priceless after experiencing the absence of them. Trusting again after being hurt is challenging. You may fear repeating the same mistakes or opening yourself up to disappointment. Trust, however, does not mean blind faith. It means allowing people access to you gradually based on how they treat you over time. It means understanding that vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness, when shared with the right individuals. Another important realization is that not everyone you lose is a loss. Some people leave to make room for better connections, deeper understanding, and healthier dynamics. What once felt like rejection may later reveal itself as redirection. Life has a way of removing what no longer aligns with your growth, even when you resist it. As you move forward, you begin to understand that investing in yourself is the most important investment you will ever make. When you prioritize your mental health, emotional well-being, and personal growth, everything else improves. You attract people who mirror the respect you show yourself. Your standards rise, not because you think you are better than others, but because you know what you deserve. Forgiveness plays a role in closure, but it does not require reconciliation. You can forgive someone for your own peace without allowing them back into your life. Forgiveness is about releasing resentment, not reopening wounds. It is about freeing yourself from the emotional weight of the past. The experience of investing in the wrong people often reshapes your definition of love, friendship, and loyalty. You learn that love should feel safe, not stressful. Friendship should feel supportive, not competitive. Loyalty should feel mutual, not forced. These realizations become your compass, guiding you toward healthier connections. Over time, you stop romanticizing struggle. You no longer believe that suffering is proof of depth or that chaos equals passion. You understand that peace is not boring, it is powerful. Stability is not dull, it is grounding. The right relationships bring calm, not constant anxiety. Looking back, you may wish you had walked away sooner, but regret should not overshadow growth. You did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. Every experience, no matter how painful, contributed to who you are becoming. Growth often requires going through what breaks you to discover what strengthens you. The ultimate lesson is this: your life reflects where you invest yourself. When you invest in the wrong people, you feel drained, confused, and diminished. When you invest in the right people and in yourself, you feel energized, confident, and aligned. Choosing wisely is not about perfection, it is about intention. Do not be afraid to outgrow people. Growth naturally creates distance from those who are not willing to evolve. This does not make you disloyal, it makes you honest. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to choose differently. You are allowed to protect your peace. In the end, investing yourself in the right places transforms your life. You become more present, more fulfilled, and more authentic. You stop chasing validation and start building meaning. You realize that you never needed to prove your worth to anyone who could not see it. Remember this: the right people will never make you feel guilty for having standards, boundaries, or dreams. They will not ask you to sacrifice your identity for their comfort. They will meet you with respect, honesty, and consistency. So choose carefully, choose consciously, choose yourself first. Because when you stop investing yourself in the wrong people, you finally create space for the right ones to find you.